Welcome to this webinar on IIM Udaipur's MBA in Global Supply Chain Management program. I have two of my most favorite professors, Professor Rajesh Agarwal and Professor Chandrasekhar with us. So Professor Rajesh has immense experience in the field of finance and accounting and is currently the chairperson for this Global Supply Chain Management program. Professor Chandrasekhar is our head of supply chain excellence at IIM Udaipur. And now I would like to request Professor Rajesh to take us through the program details.
Thank you very much, Divya, and good evening to all the participants, and very happy New Year to all of you, and a very warm welcome to this webinar on the MBA program in Global Supply Chain Management. I have the pleasure of talking to you very briefly about the program, and then, Professor Chandrasekhar and then Divya will talk briefly about our placement and the other programmatic issues, and then you will have your question and answer session. So most important is we believe that IIM Udaipur's Global Supply Chain Management Program is a unique MBA program in the country. There are not very many MBA programs of this caliber within the country. And I don't have to tell you the relevance of supply chain management issues within the country as well as globally. You know it very well. And that's why perhaps you are here attending this webinar. IIM Udaipur is a leading academic institution, so you get to do this program, degree program from this leading institution. But one of the most unique characteristics of this program is the fact that this program is industry-oriented program in very many ways. One of the most important ways in which industry impacts the program is they give significant input in the design of the program itself. Not only that, in addition to providing critical input in the design of the program, they are also involved significantly in teaching and delivery of the program. And that's where this program you will find is very unique and different as compared to many others because it has relevance to what happens in the real life. I think these are the three key reasons why we believe GSCM program is very relevant for any aspirant who wants to become an MBA in this field. Next slide. It's a 12-month long program meant for the experienced professionals, right? The first batch started as early as 2013. So currently we are in the 8th batch of this program, and we have a network of global supply chain management alumni, which are 120 of them, both in India as well as outside India. So it's a strong program and it's getting bigger as we speak. I'm very happy to tell you that IIM Udaipur as an institution was set up in 2011, and in a short period of 9 years of time, the institute has achieved many accolades internationally, of course domestically, but as well as internationally. So it is the youngest institute in the world in very many parameters, right? I'm going to tell you about that. Also, in addition to getting several accreditations and accolades in terms of rankings, it is also received a very prestigious international accreditation called AACSB accreditation. To give you a sense of what it is, there are only 5% management schools in the world which have this AACSB accreditation. Even within the country, you can find there are very few who enjoy this accreditation. Now, I was talking to you about the youngest institute in the world or the fastest to receive QS World University ranking, not only in 2020, but consecutively in 2021. QS World University ranking ranks Masters in Management program globally, and we are present in that prestigious ranking in both 2020 as well as 2021. Likewise, a very prestigious Financial Times ranking, which is a global ranking, is available both for 2019 and 20. And I'm glad to tell you that IIM Udaipur features in this ranking both in 2019 as well as 2020. When it comes to, go back please. When you come to 2020 ranking, it's important to note that there are only 4 IIMs within the country, as you can see, which have received this ranking. In addition to IIM Ahmedabad, IIM Bangalore, and IIM Calcutta, IIM Udaipur is the only 4th IIM in the country to have received this prestigious Financial Times ranking, right? So what does this rankings and accreditation tell you is this, that whatever we do, whichever program we deliver with a commitment of quality, which means a great deal to the participants and relevance to the industry. So this is only a testimony of the fact that whatever we do it with very high quality. Now, I want to very briefly tell you, I'm sure you have seen it in the website, but I want to tell you very briefly about the program and more so about the admission process. You need to have a 3-year university education, right, to be able to apply in this program. Many times participants ask this question that what kind of university education do you want us to have? While it is true in India that most of the participants come from engineering background, we are not necessarily looking for engineers. Engineers are very welcome, but at the same time, non-engineers, people from commerce or other backgrounds or arts, anybody who has keen interest in the field of supply chain is very welcome to apply, right? So as far as background is concerned, everybody is welcome. Then you need to have a valid GRE or a GMAT or a CAT score. Again, very many people ask the question, what is the minimum or a cutoff score for these programs, these tests? Now, I want to tell you, we do not have a specific cutoff in our mind. When we evaluate an application, we evaluate the application in totality, which means we look at your scores. Certainly, we look at your scores. We look at your experience, at least 3 years of experience, right? So kind of experience you had. We also look at your academic performance in your undergrad program and overall the interview performance. So it's a combination of variety of these things that helps the admission committee take a decision whether you will benefit from this program or not, right? So that's the approach we take. And having said that, it's a 36 months long full-time work program. Sorry, it's a 36 months of experience you have to be able to apply in this program. It's an on-campus program, residential program. Of course, during the pandemic, we are not able to run it, but we are running it online. And Divya will be very happy to tell you her experience of attending the program in online mode. It's a full-time 1-year program. And at the end of it all, if you successfully meet the requirements of the program, you get an MBA degree, right? Now, talking about the GSCM course, there are 3 major areas. The first major area is that of business management fundamentals. So when you join the program, the very first term, you will have whole host of core management fundamental subjects such as finance, accounting, marketing, communication, organization behavior, strategy, all these courses you learn in the first term. When it comes to the second term, you have the opportunity to apply the concepts that you have learned in the first term in the specific context of supply chain, because you are going to specialize in supply chain. So it's very important for you to apply the fundamentals that you have learned in the first term in the supply chain context. Needless to say that when we do these courses in the first term, we bring in the real life experience into the classroom through a case method of teaching. So we bring lots of cases and industry professionals come both in the first term, but more so in the second term and third term to talk to you about their real life experiences in the classroom. When it comes to the third term, we have lots of elective courses and also projects. Now, projects provides you an opportunity to work on a real life project, not an academic project, not an hypothetical project, but a real life project of a company. Divya will tell you more about it. And during this process also, you have the opportunity of applying whatever you have learned in the first term, as well as whatever you have learned in the second term in the real life setting. What it does is, it prepares you that much more to be able to do things when you step into the industry and start solving the problems, right? So we believe all these three terms have been thoughtfully designed with the input from the industry in a manner that benefits you the most and prepares you the best to be able to take on the challenges of real life. Now I would request Mr. Chandrasekhar to talk to you about the Center for Global Supply Chain Change Management that we have, of which he is the head. Over to you, Mr. Chandrasekhar.
Thank you, Professor Rajesh, and welcome to everybody. And once again, a very happy New Year to all of you. Hope all of you have a healthy, safe, and a very happy New Year. The vision of IIM Udaipur, insofar as this program is concerned, is to develop leaders in the supply chain space. And our expectation is that when you leave the institute, you will be able to tackle real life problems in the supply chain space from day one. Now, for that to happen, we were one of the first to realize that we need to involve industry so that all of you not only learn the theory of supply chain, but also how that theory has to be applied to real life situations. Only then will you start being productive from the perspective of your hirer from as early as possible. So we have established a Center for Supply Chain Management, and as Professor Rajesh mentioned, I head that center. The center is involved in various activities. One of the activities is, of course, managing this one-year program on supply chain management, right? And in order to enhance participation of industry in this program, we have put together an advisory board of very, very eminent people, right? The advisory board, if you can see the members there, it has some very eminent people from Mr. Neeraj Ambani from Reliance Industry, from Mr. Rizwan Sumar, who heads TP World, Usha Sri, who is the very senior manager in Manhattan Associates, Sahil Barua, who is a co-founder of one of the biggest logistics company in the country, Delivery, Mr. Paras Mehta, who heads Accenture Strategy, which is very heavily into supply chain consulting, and Mr. Binny Matthews, who is the vice president at Infosys. Now, we lean on this team pretty heavily for all aspects of this program. And like Rajesh said, we've been fortunate in getting their involvement in various aspects of the program, starting from the finalization or the development of the curriculum. We feel that for our students to make sense to industry, the curriculum has to be current. It needs to evolve so that it is always meeting the needs of industry. And that is possible only if we get industry involved in the development of the curriculum. So we do take inputs, and we have been very fortunate in that all these people have been very, very interested in giving their inputs for the development of the curriculum. Rajesh also mentioned that we are looking at industry more and more for even delivery of the courses. That has gone up considerably in the current year, and we feel we are very, very sure that all this will only go up in the future years. So not only are the lectures going to be giving you the theoretical inputs, these will be strengthened by people from industry, very, very eminent people, again, from the supply chain space, who will come and address and give you application related inputs with regard to what theory has been covered by our very eminent faculty in this program. So there is another area where industry is involved. Placement, of course, is an area where we look at for the involvement of industry. Now, again, if you go back to the structure of the program, term 2 and term 3, in these two terms, we do a live supply chain project. This is not some textbook project which you're required to do, but you are going to be spending about 4 months with organizations working on real life supply chain problems which are being faced by the organizations at that point in time. So there again, we are looking at industry for them to offer our students such projects from which they will learn substantially about how theory is to be interpreted and put into practice. Research is another area. Policy level research is an ambition of the institute. We want to be involved in research with regard to policy decisions which are made by the government of India. There again, there are various committees where industry members are there. We would like to collaborate with them. We want to put together a vast library of cases which are India-centric. We want to develop this material. We want to be a repository for such material, which can then be made available to other institutes in the country for their use, So we have pretty ambitious plans for this course. And for all this to materialize, we are very, very committed that we will involve industry to the maximum level possible. You will just have to excuse me for a minute. I'm extremely sorry. I'm alone at home. There was a visitor and my pet was getting excited. Right. So industry, like I said, these are various ways in which we want to involve industry, which we are very committed to and which we are sure will bring a lot of value to our students. Right. Now, these are, now I hand over to Divya, who will take you through the further parts of the presentation. She will talk to you about her experiences in the program and the placement activities which are going on. Yeah, Divya, over to you.
Sure, sir. Thank you so much. So, as a part of this global supply chain program, I would like to say that my entire journey has been pretty transformational in terms of all the aspects that the course has touched upon. If I particularly talk about the course learnings, then the entire experiential based learning, as well as the live projects, as both the professors mentioned about, as well as the simulation based classroom learnings, have been something which have really defined the course for me. Coming from a non-engineering background, it has never acted as a challenge. There has been no hindrance, and the entire learning process has been so seamless and smooth. If I would like to mention, there have been courses like operations management, operations research, which may require a lot of scientific knowledge, a lot of engineering knowledge, which students have. Like people coming from commerce background like me have that kind of skepticism in mind, like maybe I will be able to cope up with such sorts of subjects. But the simulation based exercises, the game based learning, the professional games we were introduced to, the projects that we did have really added on to the knowledge. And I don't think that it has acted as a challenge in the entire process. At the same time, the another important aspect of the course, I would say, is the personalized executive coaching, not only in terms of the placement preparation related coaching, but also when it comes to dealing with the faculty one-on-one. Because it's a small, nicely curated batch size, the experiential learning, the learning in terms of faculty interaction, in terms of the industry knowledge, we are introduced to people from the industry, we have industry mentors, we have alum mentors, we have a whole set of people who are guiding us throughout one-on-one. We can just say, like, I would say that the entire program is one on the other hand, and it has been nicely curated in terms of individual experience, basis the background of each particular student. What are my strengths and weakness? All the professors have helped me define them, and at the same time curate this program nicely as an individual learning format for me as well. We also have had the opportunity to have a lot of industry talks, and COVID has not at all acted as a hindrance this year. So I can completely understand that if I just put aside the news headlines, I don't think that COVID has acted as a challenge in my entire educational experience. Last year, all of us, my entire batch, we were here with a lot of skepticism. Will I be able to perform? Should I get my program deferred? We do MBA only once. All such sorts of questions were in our head. But the program has happened so smoothly, even in the online platform, that it has not at all been a challenge. And all the courses that were done, everything that was requested from the college, they have been very upfront in providing that to all the students. They've gone all length and depth in providing that to all of us. And I think the kind of personalized and customized education that they have provided, even in such challenged times, has been very, very exceptional and has truly been very encouraging and defining for me. Next, I would like to talk to you about the placement related process. So being a part of the placement committee, I would say that the entire placement process at IIM Udaipur is very, very seamless, starting from the time of placement preparation. So placement preparation starts well in ahead advance of whatever timeline has been scheduled for the placements to happen. We are done with individual learnings, and in terms of mentor preparations, in terms of mock interviews, in terms of all the knowledge that we need to develop before our placement season, and we just need to be there and sit and give our best shot. So that is what has been happening. Last month, we began with our placements, and almost 40% of the batch has already been placed, and the average package so far has been 25 lakhs. We have had various companies and various roles that have been offered. Our placement partners this year so far have been Accenture Strategy, Cognizant, and Walmart. And we have had the roles of operations excellence managers, supply chain analysts, and product managers. So as Professor Chandrasekhar and Professor Rajesh were mentioning about the industry life projects, I can definitely tell you that all sorts of learnings, all sorts of knowledge that you will acquire in term 1 and term 2, you will be able to highly leverage them as a part of the industry life projects. These are not some projects that the companies will just give you and you have to prepare a basic report and just submit it. These are thorough, detailed projects, no less than an internship or in fact working with the organizations. They'll give you a complete understanding of all knowledge. You will be working with their clients and you'll be imparting all sorts of conceptual learning as a part of your reports and final deliverables. So this has been really encouraging and a platform which has given me the opportunity to apply all my knowledge. So this is something that you can definitely look forward to in the entire course. And now I would like to hand over the next slides to Professor Rajesh.
Thank you very much, Divya, sharing your experience. So basically, I mean, if you were to reflect on why should you at all consider joining in a program in global supply chain management. So as I mentioned, and my other co-speakers mentioned, we believe it's a unique program with a great focus and orientation towards high quality, where there is a comprehensive coverage of supply chain management concepts. And then the methodology that we use is basically to bring the real life to the classroom through cases, simulations, and live projects. So we believe it's a unique program for that reason. On top of that, of course, you now get an MBA degree, having finished 1 year of full-time course here, which is on campus and which is a prestigious one. And then the most important and the significant feature of the program is the involvement of the industry, which you will not find in many other places. The fact that we have an advisory board of very eminent people advising, guiding, supervising as to how the program is designed to the needs of the industry, that makes the program very unique. And of course, I've talked to you about the credentials of IIM Udaipur being a premier institute, though it's 9-year-old, but it is hand-to-hand walking together with one of the most prestigious ones in the country and globally. With that, I close this presentation part and request you to post in your questions in the Q&A section, and you're happy to connect with us anytime through email or this phone number. And now you can key in your questions that you may have through the Q&A section, and Divya will be moderating the rest of the session.
Sure. Thank you so much, sir. So we've already started receiving questions in the Q&A section. I'll keep this contact window open so all of you can take note of the email ID and the contact details, and you can reach out to us anytime if you have any queries related to the program. I'll pick the question 1. Over here, a person is asking that we have, yes, so we have Vibhav. He's asking, sir, what is the status of the dual degree option? So Professor Rajesh, you can take this up.
All right, so we had a dual degree arrangement with the Purdue University. Because of the pandemic, it was a challenging situation for us to be able to align the timelines with the Purdue University, because typically the Purdue University option would have started after the first term gets over at IIM Udaipur. Now, what has happened is we are in conversation with Purdue University, but it will become clear only over the next 4 to 6 weeks that whether we should be in a position to offer the Purdue option or not. So what it means is all those people who are applying to IIM Udaipur and get admitted to IIM Udaipur are eligible to apply to Purdue option. Now, Purdue has some additional admission requirement, and if you meet that, then at that time you can be considered for Purdue as well. But for the moment, we don't know yet whether Purdue option would be available or not. You may have to wait for 4 to 6 weeks for this to become more clear.
Sure. So I'll move on to the next question by Ravish Vadhavan. He's asking, why does this course has a small batch size? Is there any seat limitation?
Right, let me take that question. So we don't have any seat limitation whatsoever. The reason why we started small, because we wanted to be very sure of the quality and the delivery, right? We do no point admitting a lot of students and not delivering them a great quality program or having challenges in the placement. I'm happy to tell you that, across the years that we have had excellent placement. In fact, I would like to encourage you to go to our website and look at our placement data, which is audited and verified. So that's authentic data about placement. Having said this, last year we had admitted more than 30 people into the program, but because of the pandemic, some people decided to defer or opt out. So we had a batch of 21 people, but this year we hope to have a bigger batch size. So we are not limited by any number or whatever. We believe anybody who is worthy of admission and who we think will benefit from the program is admitted into the program.
So next question is by Abhirup Chakravarti. He's saying, I'm having close to 10 years of experience and currently working in business development profile. Am I eligible to go for this course? What is the minimum score of GMAT accepted last year?
Should I take that, Rajesh?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Please take it. Yeah.
So, Avirup, I'll break your question into two parts. Whether you're eligible to apply for this course, yes, you are eligible to apply for the course. But having said that, you mentioned that you have 10 years of experience. So you need to get a lot of things sorted out in your mind before you take a decision as to whether you can join this course. You must have seen that the average experience of the batch is around 5 years. So you will be competing with people of that age group and with that level of experience when it comes to placement, right? In the long term, yes, you may be able to make up, what you may have to compromise in the beginning or at the time of placement immediately after the program. You may be able to recover it in the long term, but that's something which you have to think through, right? So you need to be very clear that yes, there may be some compromises which may have to make. Now, am I ready to make those compromises? And how likely is it that in the long term, I will be able to recover whatever compromises that I may have to make at the time of placement? In fact, we are encouraging many people with experience like yours to consider a sabbatical option if it is provided for by your organization. If your company is willing to give you sabbatical, that may be an option which is worthwhile considering, right? But as I told you, it is going to be a challenge. Placement for people beyond 8 years, we have found historically, is a bit of a challenge. So you will have to think that over, discuss with people, talk to alums, talk to our current and anybody you may feel may be able to help you in taking this decision, but something which you will have to think through, right? As regards the minimum GMAT score, Professor Rajesh already mentioned, we don't have a minimum cutoff. We review the application in its totality, and we look at a lot of things before we decide, yes, this person can be shortlisted for the interview. And of course, the interview will be the final basis on which the selection will be either given, admission will be either given or not, right? But we don't have a minimum GMAT score, as has already been mentioned. Yeah.
So next question is that a person is asking, as I heard, consulting companies like Accenture and Cognizant come for placements. Do you have plans on bringing more consulting organizations like Bain?
Again, I'll take that. Accenture and Cognizant have been highlighted because they have recruited people. But consulting companies, including Bain, do come to the campus. But we cannot say that every year they'll have openings for supply chain specialists, right? PGP is a much more general program, so they come for PGP. And if they have relevant requirements, then yes, we do have other consulting companies also who are coming. But it's not that every year they will have supply chain openings in the supply chain space. So yes, it's not only these two companies which are coming. There are many more companies which come to the campus. Whether they come for GSTM or DEM or PGP is a different matter depending on what their requirements are.
So I'd like to move to the next question by Anurag Singh. I think Professor Rajesh will be suitable to answer this. He's saying that what is the process to admissions for the course?
Well, very simple. You go to our website and apply. if you are eligible. What is the eligibility? You have to have bachelor's degree, you have to have valid GMAT, GRE or a CAT score, and at least 3 years of full-time experience. If you have all these three, I encourage you to go to our website and apply.
Yes. So the next question is that will this year's program be conducted online or on campus?
All right. So let me clarify this. In fact, Divya and many other students who are the current participants of the program are living on campus in the student hostel. But we do not have yet permission, the government of India, not only IIM Udaipur, but all other higher educational institutions don't have the permission to run the program on campus. As soon as we have the permission to run the program on campus, we will be running the program on campus. Very simple. Now, when will that permission come through? Nobody knows. Only the time will tell us when can we start the program on campus. But we will hope that it happens soon or sooner than later. So as far as the starting the program on campus is concerned, it's a subject matter of government permission. We don't have that permission as yet. And as I said, nobody else has the permission either.
So I would like to add something to this. If this is the reason that you are trying to like give it a thought of joining or not joining the program, then just believe me, as a part of this course, you will not even for a second feel that you are on campus or not on campus. Just apart from the scenic beauty of it, you are not going to miss much on the education and the knowledge front. And believe me that as soon as college gets a chance to call you and start the classes offline, so they will do it right away and they'll not even give it a thought. They have been doing that with us. They have been supporting us throughout. We have been very, very anxious about such sort of decisions. But even in the hostel, we are getting a very seamless feeling of attending the classes and we're nowhere missing the offline classes like that. So yeah. So next question will be, is there any experience upper cutoff limit which is encouraged?
There is no upper cutoff limit, but like I mentioned a bit earlier, people with more than 7 or 8 years of experience need to put greater thought before taking the decision to join the course, right? Placement is a challenge. I would not deny that. And we do not try to hide that fact from anybody. Placement will be a challenge. So though there is no formal cutoff in terms of maximum experience, people with more than 7 or 8 years, please think through very carefully and be convinced about the challenges which could be there for placement.
So next question is, do live projects help in getting PPOs?
Live projects, one thing they do achieve is they get more companies interested in our program, which has been reinforced this year. A lot of companies are coming on campus for the first time for GSEM based on the students who are working on the projects, right? They see the quality of the students and they feel that, yes, this is an institute worth considering. Yes, to that extent, projects help in getting more companies onto the campus for recruitment.
So next question is, do we have an idea on the batch size of the upcoming batch?
As I said before, we do not have any specific number in mind. Anybody who is worthy of admission will get admission. And what do we mean by anybody who's worthy of admission? Is the overall profile of the candidate, right? Which is a combination of your GMAT score, your undergraduate performance, your work experience, and your interview, right? So there is no batch size. As large a batch as is competent and willing, we will be recruiting them based on the judgment of the admission committee.
So next question by Abu Mansoori says that please highlight on the incoming age or the maximum age gap in the program.
It is very similar to the question.
Age cap.
Yeah.
Age gap. So
there is no age cap. The average age, like I said, when we're looking at a batch, the average experience is about 4 to 5 years. So we are looking at people who are around 26, 27 on an average, right? But there is no cap on the age.
The average experience of the batch, if I recall correctly, is close to 6 years, right? 5.8 years or 6 years is the average experience of the batch, right? And so you can say from that, basically, I think the average age of the batch is approximately 28 years for the current GSEM batch.
Right.
That's the current average is 28. Current experience is 5.8. So 6 years is the average experience. And people are ranging from, 3 years is the minimum. I think high of 8 or thereabouts, 8 to 8 years or thereabout is the highest experience of the current batch. That's the profile of the current batch.
So in our current batch, we have people in the age bracket of 26 to 33 and a couple of outliers because we also have people from the Indian Navy who have joined this program. So we have 2 people who are in the age bracket of 37 and 38 as well.
Thank you.
Yes. Then the next question is, hi, I'm a BTech passed out in 2016, currently working as ops lead with Amazon. I'm yet to take GMAT. So till when can I take GMAT exam so that I'm eligible to apply for admissions this year?
Tanu, can you answer this?
Hello.
Go ahead.
Yeah, good. Tanu.
If you have not given a GMAT
Admissions
yet,
office,
you can.
he'll be there. Yeah.
Yeah, if the person has not given GMAT yet, he can apply for a GMAT now also, and he can apply for the this cycle as it is ending on 22nd February. So you still have a time. You can apply for GMAT and you can apply for the program. You can even submit an unofficial scorecard, which you get after 3 days of the GMAT exam, and you can apply with it. Once you have an official scorecard, you can send us.
And if you have any more questions, feel free to contact the admissions office at the email address or the phone number that you see popping on your screen.
So the next question is, can a student not having a valid GMAT GRE score apply? So I would say that all the GMAT GRE admissions related can be easily answered by the MBA admissions team. So you can just email it to all the team and the phone number that has been mentioned.
But Tanu can answer this question to clarify.
Yes, the GMAT CAT or a GRE score is a mandatory requirement of the program. So if you have not applied for it, you have to give the exam before applying for the course.
Yes.
Also, the next question is, does pandemic have any impact on the placements? So Professor Chandrasekhar, you can answer that.
Like, contrary to expectations, we thought at the beginning of the program of this year's batch, we thought it will be a major issue, but we find that no, it's not been significantly affected. The pandemic has not significantly affected the recruitment, and even in the normal year, we start recruitments in the month of November, December. This year also we started at the same time. The programs are progressing in a similar manner, and we hope that, like every year, we will finish placement by March or April at the latest. So I don't think the pandemic has severely impacted placement in any way. Contrary to what we ourselves thought, we were quite happily surprised.
So the next question is, what is the probability to change the industry post-graduation? Considering the COVID scenario, also I have 4 years experience in telecom. So I think the person is trying to ask, how is it possible to make an industry switch given he already has 4 years experience in telecom industry and the COVID pandemic is on?
Yes, you should be able to. Even this year, there are people who have come in without a supply chain background, have changed industries, and are looking at roles which are different from what they have experienced in. So I don't think the COVID has in any way impacted that. No, it's what you bring to the course and what you gather from the course that will ultimately define which industry you're suitable for. But yes, there has been no special impact because of the COVID. No.
May I make one request? Many of you are posting your question in the chat section. We are not able to answer any of those questions.
Yes.
Can you please post your questions only in the Q&A section? Thank you. Go ahead, Divya, please.
Sure. So the next question is apprenticeship considered as experience?
No, apprenticeship is not considered as
No.
experience.
No.
Only full-time experience with an organization is considered as the valid experience.
Next question is, what is the last date for applying for the program?
It is 22nd February.
For this cycle, right? Yeah.
No, for cycle 4, the last cycle,
four, yeah,
the
sorry, last
deadline
cycle,
is
sorry.
22nd
Yeah,
February.
yeah.
For cycle 3, the 11th January is the deadline
Right.
to apply for the program.
Next question is, what are the options for financial assistance?
Unfortunately, we don't have any financial assistance in this program, but you would be eligible to take a bank loan. We have an arrangement with State Bank of India, and most of the participants of this program avail a bank loan from State Bank of India. And interestingly, the State Bank of India rates are very, very competitive as compared to any other bank that we can think of. So we have an arrangement and a tie-up with State Bank of India. As I said, most candidates take a bank loan from State Bank of India.
So the next question is, when does the placement process start in the calendar year?
Divya, you want to take that as a member of the placement committee?
So the placement process usually starts in November this year. Even despite the COVID situation, it started well in advance. It started in November. It started towards the last week of November, and it's been only a month. And we have already placed a lot of people from our batch, and we still are like 4 months into the program. And we are hopeful that the remaining batch will also get placed. So whether it starts in November, December, or Jan, I don't think that makes much of a difference, because there are industry partners that we have, and the process is pretty seamless.
Divya, I can see a question from Abhijit Kumar Sahu. Maybe you skipped that.
Yeah, how do online classes work?
Yes.
Kumar Sahu.
So how does online classes work? We live in campus at IIM Udaipur and classes are online, or we live at our homes.
Let me
I'll take that. This year, we are given the option to the students at a certain point in time. Though we started off online classes where the students also were at home, but after a couple of months, we gave the option to students to come onto the campus. Out of the 21 who are in the batch, I think 16 or 17 are on campus, though the classes are online. Whereas the remaining 3 or 4 are at home, and they are also attending the same classes online. So the options are there. It's a mix of people on campus as well as people off campus.
So another question is, can you also please let us know the placement percentage of past 3 batches? So all such kind of information, I think it's available on our website.
Yes.
We do have our placement reports detailed out there, along with the companies, the profiles that have been offered, and they're pretty audited reports. So you can just access those reports through our website. And I think that should answer this question. The next question is by Vipin Shukla. Basically, will this course be useful for someone who is looking at starting own business? Because I feel student at B school must strive to be a job giver and not job seekers. So,
Within this, definitely this course will give you inputs, but ultimately whether you want to start your own business, a lot is left to the individual also in terms of the individual interest. But yes, this whatever tools are required for starting a business, because supply chain is going to be a critical part of any business that you start. And to that extent, yes, inputs will be given, which will enable you to implement that in your business. Yes, definitely.
also to add to it, we also have like various societies which are working in terms of entrepreneurship. We have subjects related to entrepreneurship. We have IIM Udaipur's incubation center. So if you have some exceptional idea around your business, so even the college supports your decisions and your knowledge or ideas that you want to share and do something different in terms of your own business. So I think that should be of help, because the course, anyhow, supply chain will be required as a part of any business that you want to pursue. So I think that should be helpful. How many applications does this program receive every year?
That's an information, I think that's for the admissions committee to look at. And if you have a specific query which concerns you as a participant, you should ask that question.
So the next question is, sir, in case of sabbatical, do we need to do project in parent organization?
No, it's not necessary that you do it in a parent organization unless your parent organization mandates it, right? Like Divya mentioned some time back, we have 2 students who have been sponsored by the Indian Navy. There, the Navy has given them the freedom to do a project in any organization, and they were particularly keen on doing a project in some other organization. So it's not necessary unless your organization mandates it.
So the next question is, what is interview process after selection?
See, the interview is before the selection.
Right.
Selection is subject to interview. We have a criteria based on which we will shortlist people, which Professor Rajesh has enumerated many times in terms of your educational background, your number of years experience, your valid GMAT, GRE, CAT scores. Then we will shortlist candidates based on these parameters. They will undergo an interview, and only then will admission be the decision on admissions be taken.
The next question is, what is the expected date of result or shortlist if we apply in cycle 3?
It is mentioned on the website. For the deadline is the end of January, it around like 29th of January to announce the result.
Yes.
Does the program have any limitations if it is conducted online? No, not at all. But Professor Rajesh will tell you more about it.
Well, I think, it's interesting that you asked this question. And honestly, when the pandemic had hit, nobody had known something about this. To begin with, everybody was worried, students, faculty, because we didn't have the experience of teaching courses online, nor did the students had ever been taught online. But I would think, after teaching the programs over the last 9 months online, I believe it's more a mindset issue than the real issue. If we approach the program with an open mind as a faculty and also as an open mind as a participant, there's barely any challenge. In fact, interestingly, as a faculty, I've been teaching for the last 30 years. And I can say that my experience is that there are very many things that I can do online more effectively that perhaps I cannot do it even in an on-campus situation. Not to suggest on-campus situation is not a great idea. That certainly is a great idea. But the perception we carry that online teaching is terrible and you don't learn, all that is perhaps highly misplaced. And I can tell you one thing, if this current batch, which is completely, almost certainly going to be online, if that batch didn't learn anything, then the companies would not come and offer jobs to Divya and others, all other friends, because they wouldn't have learned anything starting the program online. So the industry, the private sector is not going to be very kind if the participants don't have the knowledge of the learning. So I'm happy to tell you that our experience has been great in terms of running the program online. Having said that, as soon as the situation clears, we are very much eager, as everybody else, is to start the program on campus. But Divya, has a question up ahead from Sumit.
From Sumit Kumar.
Yeah, Sumit Kumar, being a QA engineer in IT world, how does this course be beneficial for me? Overall work X is 4 years. What challenge I will be facing during this course?
How will this course be beneficial for you? I have no way of, I will be able to answer that question convincingly. One of the things we judge during the interview process is to see whether you are interested in supply chain. That has to be the starting point. Okay, your experience is as a QA engineer, but what is your inclination towards supply chain? And if the inclination is there, then you will derive a lot of benefit from the program, which you can carry forward, right? There will be challenges. I won't say the challenges will be dramatically different than being faced by the other students, right? Not everybody comes with a supply chain background. In fact, majority of the students don't have supply chain background. So there won't be any challenges which will be particular to a person with a QA engineer. But what benefit will you be able to derive will depend ultimately on what is your interest, what is your inclination, what is your passion for supply chain. And if you have that, then you will benefit tremendously from the program.
So next question is by Yash. He says, a very happy new year. Happy new year to you, Yash. And I have 2 years of experience in procurement and strategic sourcing. So how this program will be of help to my profile? So how can it help him?
Rajesh, you want to take that? He's criteria.
It's like this. So first thing is, Yash, that you have 2 years of work experience. And noted that the minimum requirement that we have is to have 3 years work experience. So first of all, you have to have 3 years to be eligible to apply for this program. Having said that, how will you benefit? Because you are from procurement and sourcing, the idea of a management qualification is what that you become senior in the organization, you become capable of supervising and guiding the organization, which requires a management qualification. Management qualifications gives you an overview of various functional discipline, which a technical person may not be able to go very far. That's the reason experience shows that those people who just have technical qualification perhaps stagnate in their career after a few years, and a management qualification is of tremendous help in helping them solve the problems of the organization. So you will benefit as much as anybody else does from an MBA program, a high quality MBA program such as ours. And I don't see any reason why you cannot derive the maximum benefit out of this program. So I would encourage you to consider applying. Think of your goals, and if it aligns with your goals, it will be a great program.
Sure. So next question is, if someone has not performed academically well and they do not have a good score in GMAT or CAT, but have a good work experience, do you think this person has a chance?
So I would tell this, that you do not have a notion of what do you mean by a good score or not a good score. As I said before, it's the totality of your application that matters. So instead of debating and kind of speculating as to whether it's going to work or not, all that it takes is for you to apply and see whether our admission committee thinks your application is good enough to benefit from this program, and you will know. So I would encourage you to apply without speculating too much about it.
Sure. So next question is, are there sectional cutoffs for CAT scores? As my CAT 19 VARC score is very low, nearly 46% in PGP, like in PGP.
So as I said, we have no such minimum cutoffs, as I mentioned, for this program. We look at the program, your candidature overall. So yeah, so we don't have any specific cutoffs that I've mentioned.
The next question is by Siddharth Agarwal. He says, I have 10 years of work ex and have been working for 6 years in my family business in managing CNF for an automotive lubricant brand. I'm looking forward to gain knowledge in establishing supply chain vertical for my business. Also, I'm looking forward to gain experience in supply chain management in different industries. How can this program help me in my entrepreneurial journey?
You want to take that, Chandrasekhar?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, now your family business is already in one aspect of supply chain. You're in C&F for an automotive lubricant brand. Now your aspiration is to establish other supply chain verticals. So this course will give you an outlook on the other aspects of all aspects of supply chain, right? Which will help you in establishing these verticals. Now, insofar as the requirement of looking forward to gain experience of SCM in different industries, this can be done in various ways. Like we said, we will be having industry participation in delivering of the courses, as well as we'll have live projects on which we'll be working. So those are ways by which you can get that sort of experience. But I'm assuming here that you ultimately want to go back to your family business. And since your aspiration is to expand that business into other areas of supply chain, yes, this course will benefit you in that it will give you an outlook into all those aspects of supply chain.
Awesome. Next question is by Saurabh Sharma. He's asking, is there any 2-week international immersion for the program, and in which schools is the immersion generally carried out?
So we don't have the international immersion anymore. Given the pandemic, we have suspended that. And only when pandemic completely clears out, we may consider doing this for subsequent programs. But as of now, we don't have any international immersion component.
And in any case, the international immersion is not in other schools. It is in an organization where you'll go and spend a couple of weeks. The idea is for you to work with different cultures and see how different cultures look at supply chain issues, right? So it's not going to be in another business school, but in fact, it will be with organizations. But like Rajesh said, we don't know when it will start, given the pandemic and the restrictions the pandemic has imposed on us.
And it is not there for this year.
Yeah, it is not there.
Yeah.
The next question is by Apurv Rathore. He's asking, what is the average GMAT score or range of score?
I think that has been answered many times.
Answered that time, and again, you can move on to the next one.
Aditya Surana is asking, as we have around 3.5 months yet before the program starts, could you please tell the topics or the course we should learn the basics of?
So 2 things. If you are admitted into the program, our admissions office will handhold you in terms of what are the preparatory courses you have to do. We will suggest you material, we'll share the material with you and handhold you in the process. If you haven't yet received the admission as yet, I would encourage you to apply and secure an admission. Having secured the admissions office will always help you in terms of kind of preparatory courses in maths and quantitative skills and other skills that are required.
I think there's another question around experience which has already been answered, so I'll skip that. Any inputs on placements of current batch? I think that has also been covered. Then we have, I am new to global supply chain management concept, but I'm interested in it and want to learn more about it. Does having a prior background or knowledge in GSCM required?
No, you don't require any prior knowledge in or work experience in supply chain space. No.
Sure. So next question is, do we have 8-week separate internship program?
No. Now here, internship is basically a part of the PGP program because there are a lot of people without any work experience. And the idea of the internship is to go and help them get a flavor of how to work in an organization. Now, all of the students in this program will be having a minimum of 4 to 5 years experience or an average of about 5 years experience. So we don't feel there is any need for you to do an internship in an organization. What we find more meaningful is that you do a live project. You go and work with an organization on some issues, supply chain issues they are handling. And that we feel will give more value. We don't have a separate 8 weeks internship as a part of this program. No, the live project is over a period of about 4 months in the second term. And a part of it flows into the third term.
So next question is, since Amazon, Flipkart are major recruiters for placements, do these companies visit IIM Udaipur MBA GSCM every year?
I cannot say every year. Like I said, it all depends on their requirements. But these are companies which are frequently coming to IIM Udaipur for supply chain. But I will not say commit that every year they will come. No, it's not something which is written in stone.
Next, we have a couple of questions related to GMAT score, which I think have been answered. There's one question, can I apply with GMAT online score? So
GMAT online score you can apply, but you should have a proof of your exam, like the screenshot of exam, because if you have not had the mark sheet as of now.
Divya, Aditya Surana says, please ask my question. Did we miss it earlier?
no, so I think we have already answered that.
Yeah.
Okay, fine, good.
Another question is, I think range in CAT score you are looking for, average score range in CAT.
We talked about it many times, so let's move forward.
Done. Any updates on Purdue collaboration with Dispatch has been answered. So do you have any students who have pursued masters from abroad?
In the current batch, no, we don't.
Not in the current. Any prerequisite for GSCM course, which is again been answered by Professor Rajesh, that the programs office will get in touch and share the entire course structure with you, whatever needs to be prepared before joining. So another question by Aviroop is, my last question for this season, as told, higher experience will be challenging to be placed and there will be compromises. May I know what kind of compromises are being talked about? It's really heartening to hear that it is not encouraged for people with higher experience.
Compromises could be in terms of the level at which you are taken by the organization. You may be at a certain level because of having spent 8 to 10 years in one particular industry. Now you do this course, you shift your branch, you may not be able to get the level or the designation which is on par with what you're having now. There may be even compromises which you may have to make in the short term with regard to your package, your CTC. So these are, it's not that these will always be there, but they may be there and you need to be ready to deal with them if they confront you. So that's why we believe in making you aware of all these challenges and not paint a rosy picture saying that no problem, you will be placed, you'll get whatever you want. No.
So So next question is, I am an engineering professional having around 8 years of work experience. Will it be possible for me to change the industry from manufacturing or project management to another industry? So I think the industry switch is pretty possible. Not 8, but we do have examples with people with 6 years of work ex, and they have been able to make switch. So we had people with project management experience who have now moved on to consulting related organizations. So I think such kind of switches are possible.
Yes.
And then
Operations management, there are various roles which you could switch into, not an issue.
It's a question of fitment between what the company is looking for and what you
Yes.
have to offer. Now,
Right.
that's a tricky one at times to say that if it's going to be there or not there. But our experience shows that many a times people are very happy to consider people with different sector and switch over. So in the other program that we run in digital enterprise management, a couple of days back, somebody with 8 years of experience had switched over a sector to another organization. So all kinds of things are possible. There is no standard straitjacket answer, so to say, but yes, it is possible.
So we have a question by Arjun. He's asking, I'm working in a PSU of Rajasthan state. Can he, I think he's trying to ask, can he apply through like a sponsor candidate?
Why don't you get in touch with us separately and we would be able to answer your question. So I would encourage you to write an email to us at the email address provided, and we will talk to you separately about the that possible arrangement.
Yes. So again, a question around the placement record for this program, is it 100%? So you can just check our placement reports. They pretty much define all the placement records we have.
And we are very particular that all these reports undergo a thorough audit process. So rather than my saying yes or no, it's better you go and have a look at the audited reports, which will give you the conviction of what the placement record is.
Right. So remaining questions are around the profile and applications, so which have been already covered. We have a question by Sagar. He's asking how much weightage is given to different components: experience, profile, statement of purpose, CAT score, and others. How do the candidate, how can a candidate know waitlisting number, since only they receive an email, or will you be contacted? So he's trying to ask, like, how does the waitlist get communicated?
Waitlisting process is something where, we will let you know once the timeline that has been given to you, whether you have been offered an admission or not. There is no waitlisting number, so to say. There are a variety of considerations that go into deciding why a candidate is on waitlist and how from one can move from waitlisted to an offered candidate status. So that's an internal process. We cannot talk more about it here, but yes, you will know when by the timeline that has been given to you.
And also regarding the weightages given to various sections like experience profile.
Internal decision-making process.
Yes. Right. So next question is, what is the criteria to become placement committee member in MBA GSEM as someone has prior experience?
Oh, Divya, this question is right for you.
Yeah. So you will have an entire interview process, which was taken by our seniors, as well as the placement officers who are a part of the IIM Udaipur Placement Center. And after a couple of interviews, and you have to write some statement of purposes and certain screenings done, which the project is redefined every year. So it will totally depend on the placement office, how they want to carry out the process this year. And after a couple of rounds of interviews, you can become a member of the placement committee. So Aditya Surana is asking, as I am from a non-engineering background, could you please guide me through the course I should take up before the course starts? So I think, again, even I'm from a non-engineering background, and the programs office shared a list of detailed courses. And I think that should be enough before coming to the campus or starting with the course. Again, around CAT and GMAT scores. So does this program have a culture of competing in MBA B school competitions like PGP? Yes. So we do have options for one-year programs to apply on platforms like Dare to Compete, and we do have openings. We have a lot of business school competitions in terms of case competitions and all other competitions. And yes, they are open to one-year executive programs as well. Only a couple of them do not allow because they are on the lower side of work experience, since we'll be competing with PGP people or people who are just out of their grad schools. So maybe there, just to maintain the parity, they do not allow experienced folks. But yes, wherever they're allowing people with experience to participate, I think the executive programs do have, they can apply to it. So the question is, does this course also involve subjects related to operations and project management? I think Professor Rajesh can answer that.
Yes, these courses are very much there as a part of the program. I encourage you to look at the website, which has the list of the courses, but these courses are very much there.
So another question, Rahul. Recently, government has shown concerns with the MBA program conducted by IIMs. What is the current status of this situation? Will this be a problem midway through the program?
Right, let me answer that question. So we are governed by an act called IIM Act of 2017 passed by the Parliament. So 3 years ago, Government of India passed an act by the Parliament where the governing board of each of the IIMs have the authority to decide the degree and the diploma and the prerequisite to be able to deliver, award such degrees and diploma. And that act empowers the governing board to do that. And that's what IIM Udaipur board and other IIMs in the country IIM boards in the country have decided. However, Ministry of HRD or Ministry of Education now has shared some concern about giving an MBA degree instead of a PG diploma degree for a one-year MBA program. We are in conversation with the government and we believe that a middle ground will be found. But as of now, as it stands today, the decision to grant MBA stands and will continue to grant until if for some development, it's possible that, it might change, but we don't know that as yet. We are in conversation with the government.
Sure. So the next question is by Sumit Kumar. He's asking only full-time work.
There's one by Sachin Shetty here, Divya, before that.
I think there was a similar question.
Achha, okay, sabbatical, yeah, okay.
Sabbatical. So Sumit Kumar is asking, only full-time WorkX is considered as a part of this course, as I have 1 year of experience on contract basis out of 4 years of experience.
If out of 4 years, you have only 1 year as contract, you still have 3 years of full-time, that makes you eligible, right? And if you have any more detailed nuances, please do call up the admissions office, and they'll help you clarify whether you are eligible or not. But based on what you have mentioned, that you have full-time 4 years of experience, and out of which only one, where you have a doubt, still you have a 3 years of full-time experience. But I encourage you to talk to the admissions office with this specific question.
Sure. So next question we have already covered. Then a question by Aditya. I have already secured a seat and I asked the admissions committee to help me with preparatory course, but they have not yet updated. I think you should be receiving it sooner. So the admission committee will soon contact you and they will definitely share the course pack with you. So Vipin Shukla is asking, can BCom students fit into the course curriculum among most of the BTech students? Yes. I am a commerce student. I have done my bachelor's in management studies, complete finance related thing, and I could fit very well.
Otherwise, in addition to Divya, there are other BCom students as well that we have in the program.
Right. So another question is that, hi, I am currently working with Bain & Company as analytics associate and have worked on many supply chain optimization projects and seriously willing to apply for the program, but will be completing my 3 years in the month of May 2021. And criteria mentioned on the website is experience around 3 years by 31st of March. So should I still apply this year or next year?
Tanu, what is the...
Yes, we suggest you can apply next year because our criteria that you should have 3 years of work experience till 31st March 2021. So in your case, you can apply next year for the program.
Yeah. So next question is by Rasab Desai, and he's asking that I'm planning to pursue masters in supply chain from abroad and then opt for an MBA later. Do I face challenge while placements?
I don't see why. I don't understand what your doubt is.
Right. So,
If you are doing a master's in supply chain from abroad, you're already doing a master's in supply chain. So
Yeah.
if I read you correctly, you still want to do an MBA. You want to do a general MBA, that's a different thing. If you want to do an MBA in supply chain management, that I'm not too sure what it does mean, because you're already going to do a master's in supply chain, as you said, from abroad. So we don't quite follow what your question is. But even if you have done one qualification from abroad and you want to do another one from India, I don't see any challenge in placement.
right. So next question is by Aditya Surana. He's asking, could you also please tell us about the current placement scenario? Does the college assist for international placements?
Current placement scenario, we've already said, we've already discussed it during the presentation. International placements, no, we assist, we get companies into the campus for placement, and whoever comes, we facilitate the placement process. So I can't say that we will assist you any specific, especially for international placements, no.
So I think Avirup is again asking that I just want to switch industry and a decent package is enough. The only worry is, will I get placed? So that again depends. We will have companies on board, we will have students participating, and that totally depends on your preparation. And I think Professor Chandrasekhar can add to it.
Yeah, I don't know how to allay that worry of yours. What can I say which will remove that worry at this point in time? I cannot say anything.
Yeah,
Right?
the worry is that even in COVID circumstances, you still are like, we are getting companies. So
Right.
we will have companies. It totally depends on your preparation.
I think Avirup is one person who had that many years of experience. I think that's why the worry. So
Right.
that, like I mentioned, that's something which you have to sort out in your mind, and the institute will help in whatever way possible to see that you get placed. But there will be challenges, like I've mentioned so many times now.
Right. So another question is by Siddharth, asking, after how many days of application submission deadline interview list is announced?
So Siddharth, regarding this, we have mentioned all the dates on the website regarding the shortlisting process and everything. So whatever the outcome of the application, you will receive between that time period.
Right. So another question is, could you please tell the total strength of GSCM 2021 course? Yes, so we are 21 of us. I think that's...
But let me add to this, the total number of participants who were offered admission were, in excess of 30 or around 30, if I recall.
Yeah.
But some of them deferred their admission from current year to the next year. And some of them had to withdraw because of some other challenges in the family. That's why we have a batch size of 21. Otherwise, the batch had an offered, committed batch size of 30, approximately 30.
Right. Another question by Siddharth is, what kinds of clubs and events are a part of this program? So we can apply for all the college clubs and societies. We have consulting club, we have marketing club, we have various other cultural clubs. So you are free to apply to all sorts of clubs. Apart from that, we have PlaceCom committee and we have various other committees. So I think the detailed list of all these clubs and committees is available on our website, and you can go through them. Next question is by, Kailash is asking, I have already applied and been rejected. Is there still a chance that I can apply again?
If you have been rejected, then you cannot apply again in this year. And so you are only eligible to apply in the next academic year, right? So for the current year, you will not have the chance to apply again.
Yes. So a question is like, what would be an ideal profile as per admissions team? So I think you just have to curate whatever you have done so far. You cannot meet the expectations of admissions team on spot. So you can just compile and admissions team will decide.
Yeah, I would encourage like this. All of us reflect and say, oh my God, I don't have this and I don't have that. Instead of speculating excessively, if you are eligible to apply in all those criteria, meaning you have a valid score, whatever is the score, you have 3 years of experience and you are a graduate, you go ahead and apply with the best of your ability and let the admissions committee take a decision rather than overly worry or speculate whether I'm the right person or not.
Right. So another question is like, I have already completed YLP IIM Bangalore 2020 course, which is another 1-year MBA in general management. Will GSCM still be beneficial in context with already having done YLP?
Jayadrat, it'll again depend on where you see yourself, what is your interest, where do you want to develop your career. If it is in the supply chain space, then yes, this will give you very focused knowledge on supply chain and it will help you progress in that field. So it all depends on ultimately what you want from your career. If you feel that the general management program suffices, then it's a decision we need to take. But if you want to pursue in supply chain, you feel that executive general management did not cover enough of that subject, then this course definitely focuses on the subject and it will be able to add value so that you're able to build a career in that area.
Yes. So another question, I think it's, is he trying to answer, ask, is retainership considered as an experience? It's, I think, apprenticeship, if you must be typing that.
Retainership.
No, retainership also possible. He might be, on a retainership as a consultant or something.
Tanu, you have a guideline or you'll ask him to write to us?
As such, we don't have any guideline for this, but you can share us your document with us. We'll access the same and then we'll update you. So you can write to us, email us, you can contact us on our mobile number.
Divya, we will take Sachin's question. It seems he missed the answer. He was talking whether if I'm in a sabbatical, do I need to go back to my parent organization? Sachin, if it's mandated by your organization that you need to come back to them for whatever projects you undertake, then you need to go. It is not something which we are making mandatory, right? You are welcome to do it in another organization also, unless it has been mandated by your parent organization from you're coming on a sabbatical.
Right. So another question is, if we get MBA from GSCM, is it a constraint if someday someone wants to go in different concentration like advantages from MBA in general management?
The question that you have sent is not very clear, but if we read it correctly, you are saying if you have done an MBA in global supply chain management, can you still want to go? Can you do a general MBA? It's your choice. I mean, if we are no one to judge whether you should do another MBA or not, but you have to be very clear about your career goals. What do you really want to go forward with? And then choose the program that best fits your career goals or aligns with your career goal. There's no point choosing a program just for the heck of it. So I would encourage you to think through carefully as to what your career goal is. Do you want to go into general management? Then don't do this course. This is not the right course.
Exactly.
But if you're very passionate about supply chain management issues, then this is the right course for you. And it's for you to decide what interests you the best.
We do have some general management courses, subjects being offered in term 1. So they can broaden your knowledge on general management as well. So another question is, do we actually get time to be active in clubs and committees, given the course structure is very rigorous? I think yes, obviously, if you can just manage your time well, the course does allow you time to participate in all the activities. And we, like most of our batch members, they are already a part of various clubs and committees, and they are actively participating in them. So that's
Aditya,
possible.
you never get time. You have to make time.
Yes. Yeah, and that you will learn in your term 1. So MBA will teach you that. Another question is it fine to join if we have done MBA already in correspondence?
So I'll answer that. If you have already done a management in correspondence, and if you feel or you believe that you have learned enough and you are confident about your learning, I don't think you need to do any other MBA. But if you feel that the course that you have done hasn't taught you enough and you feel deficient in your knowledge or application, then you should certainly consider doing a prestigious or a high quality program and then take a decision. And then in that scheme of things, you can decide whether IIM Udaipur fits into your goals or not. So you have to make that judgment whether what you have done is good enough for you or not.
So the next question is, full-time fellowship experience from any DRDO labs will be considered?
Tanu, is the fellowship experience in
Uh,
you have a
Again, let
guideline?
him apply. Huh? No
So,
guideline.
yeah, he can apply if he have full-time experience.
yes, so you can apply.
Yes. So the next question is there any agri-based industry coming from for internship, as I have a startup of agriculture business? So Professor Chandrasekhar can answer this. Internship component we do not have as a part of this course.
Yeah. Live project, okay, possibly we have companies like Cargill, which are there in the, that's the closest I can think of, which have come to the campus in previous years, and we are hopeful that they'll come. If we are offered some projects by them, then yes, that's, but internship like we've been mentioning is not a part of this program, no. But projects, yes, if there is something suitable, there are companies in this sector who have been coming. If they come again, if they offer us projects, then yes, that can be offered to our students.
Right.
We are done with the questions in the Q&A section.
I
And
would like to say a couple of things, because I think, the overall theme of many of your questions was broadly in 2-3 areas. Many of you are concerned about your GMAT score and how does the admission process take place. And I would strongly encourage you to think like the following. When you appear for these tests, GMAT, GRE, or CAT, whatever is the score that you get is the reflection of your best capability. If you think you haven't gotten the best score, sometimes you rewrite it, right? So if you think you are not satisfied with your score, go ahead and rewrite it. And then just apply with the scores that you have and the experience that you have, and do not spend too much of energy in thinking about whether I will get it or not. That doesn't help anybody. And wherever you are applying, it's not only the question of IIM Udaipur, wherever you apply, and then leave the rest of the decision-making process to the admission committee and hope the best result comes out in your favor. So that's what I would encourage you to worry, think about how to apply and not overly worry about the cutoffs and the GMAT scores or GRE scores. The other thing, as Professor Chandrasekhar mentioned to you about the experience issue, in our experience, we have seen people from the 3 years to 8 years range is the one where it is relatively very easy to place people. From 8 to 10 category, it becomes harder, right? It's not that it's impossible. People do get placed between 8 to 10 years category as well. In the past, we have had people with 8 to 10 years of experience and they have been placed. Beyond 10 years, it becomes even harder. So if you are in 3 to 8 years of category, your chances of placements are very, very high, because that's what the companies are basically looking for. 8 to 10, there is some risk involved, and that you are the best judge whether you should take that risk or not. I would also encourage you to talk to some of our alumni. If you are in touch with, you may know some of them. There are 120 of them. I'm sure you can get hold of one or the other. I also would encourage you to speak to some of our current students, Dibya or her friends, and if you want to talk to them, you can, get in touch with the admission office and they'll help you get in touch with any current student or the past alumni. And then you can, sound out your concerns or question, and they can perhaps help you in taking a decision in this regard. The third thing is about your concerns and questions around the online and all that kind of stuff. Nobody knows, honestly, how long this pandemic is going to continue. And my encouragement to you would be to think like this, that because it's not a matter of days or weeks, it's something which is kind of prolonged, perhaps your educational goals need not wait. I'm saying this with more confidence, having been involved in this program for 9 months. Mr. Chandrasekhar and Divya, all of us have been involved, and we realize that the outcomes, the learning outcomes, are significantly better than what we had imagined. So I'm saying that with more confidence, that your educational goals perhaps need not wait. Now, whether this program fits into your scheme of things, you are the best judge. Ultimately, we wish that you take a decision which is in your best interest. It is not about IIM Udaipur. It is all about you. It has to make sense to you and your career and your aspiration. So I hope that you would be able to take a decision which is good for you. And you please, very welcome to connect to us if you have any more questions or doubts to the admissions office, it's better to write an email so that we get a chance to think through your question and we can respond it in time. With that, we thank you for your time to participate in this seminar, and thank my colleagues on the call, and as well as Divya for hosting it so well. Have a good evening. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
all. Hope to see you soon, all of you.
There is a question still coming. Can you answer that? There's a Swapnil.
I think there was last one about operations management. Swapnil.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. So I am interested in learning operations in supply chain as a major. Do we get a course in operations as well to select? So
There is an operations management. Yes, it's a mandatory course. There's no question of selecting it. It's a requirement of the program. There are also other courses in logistics. There's a course on strategic sourcing. So a lot of these core subjects are going to be a part of the program, which are all mandatory courses. They're not electives which you can opt for. No.
right. I think we've covered all questions.
Yes. So we can now close this. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.